what you're looking at here is the Art192 website. It's located at www.art192.com. You can type in this web address to any web browser and arrive here at this destination. This is our home base for the course. This is the most important area you need to understand the deadlines, the downloads, the weekly assignments, discussions, topics. Everything is here. So let's begin. First off, you'll notice that this obviously is dated in time. So in other words, as we look at this here for the spring semester of 2018, this format will obviously change a little bit for future semesters, but for the most part, it will look just like this. So you can use any web browser of your choice. I happen to use Firefox, but if you're a Mac user, you can use Safari, and it should work on Chrome as well. But yes, this happens to be a Firefox browser. Let's get started. The home page has at the very top my name, the course name, and of course my email, which is really critical because this is the way that you're going to reach out to me to ask questions for the course. It's really critical that you are comfortable copying and pasting this into your email tool of choice. Now, the office is FA 233. That's my office on campus. That means Fine Arts Building 233. Now, if you are taking this course in spring or in fall, I will have regular office hours each week for you to attend if you need to. For summer students, I'm sorry, but there are no office hours for summer courses. So there will be no office hours for summer students. Just keep that in mind. You can always reach out to me though via email, and since that's the preferred method for online students, it's rare that people ever want to meet in person anyway. All right, so this homepage, first of all, you should see this video that I'm speaking to you now should be embedded right here. But this homepage has other information on it that is kind of a general overview of the course and gives you critical information about the software and the subscription plans to Photoshop, as well as a link to my email once again here. And this one is clickable, as you can see, but it may or may not work depending upon your particular computer system. Just be aware of that. These deadlines here, which are the two most important deadlines in the course, they are the only deadlines in the course. And of course, they will update based upon your semester. So they will be very different for summer students versus spring or fall. But these are the two dates. And of course, when you are looking at the updated version of the website, you will see those dates reflect for your particular semester when you're taking it. This warning here in red relates to something I want to get into right now, which is the email that you're going to use for the course. Everyone needs to have an email to participate, and this is the most important part of the course that you need to understand. I want you to stop everything you're doing right now, pause this video, and click on the email registration link on the website. This area will have your first and last name for the form, and then your exact email address. And it's really critical that you spell this correctly and give me the correct address, of course. And you'll notice that I'm after Gmail addresses. I really want Google email addresses because they work much better with the system that we're going to use for submitting your work, which is called Google Drive. Now, if you've never used Google Drive, we'll get into that in a moment, but needless to say, your email, if it's a Gmail account, it'll be much easier for us to input that to get your Google Drive link started. So if you don't have a Gmail account and you really don't want to sign up for one, you're really stubborn, okay, give me whatever email you're going to use for the course and we'll try and make it work with the Google Drive. But just as it would be a great help to me if you have a Gmail account that you use on a regular basis. So again, pause the video if you haven't done so already. Fill out this link so I have it. If you fill out this link too late or you're watching this after I've already compiled the list, I will have to add you, and you'll know whether or not you're on the list based upon whether or not you get my weekly emails. I will be sending you emails depending on the semester once a week or once a day, depending if it's your spring, summer, or fall. But if you're not getting those by week 2, then you know that you didn't end up on the master email list and you need to reach out to me right away. And just keep in mind, this is very important. If I don't have a confirmed email from you and I don't think you're getting the weekly emails because you're not on my email master list, I will have to drop you eventually from the course, because that means that I can't communicate with you if I don't have an email address that works and you're checking. If I don't have it in my database on a list, I don't have your email. So anyway, I can't stress that enough. Do it right now. Anyway, hopefully you've done that and you've paused the video. Now you've resumed it and you're back with me. So let's get back to basics. So the next link on the website is going to be the assignments link. And again, this will vary, of course, depending upon your semester. Here's where you're going to get all the information around the different modules. Now, module is just another name for chapters, like chapters in a book. These are referring to the lessons that you're going to download. So this link is critical, and the reason it's at the top is because this is where your deadlines can be found. So here in red, you have your first deadline. This is the only deadline you need to worry about. These dates on the white and beige areas are just to help you stay on track. In other words, when you start working on these different chapters, these modules 1 through 7, basically you're going to be saving work as you go and then uploading it to your your Google Drive. And the first upload will be due on the midterm of your semester. So in other words, don't pay attention to this date here in the video. Go check it out on the website, the actual website that's live right now, and that will have the date that you need for your first due date for your projects. The second and final due date will occur at the end of the semester. So this is kind of like your midterm and your final exams on a, in a math or an English class. So these dates here, again, are just to keep you on track. You will not be submitting anything on those dates. Nothing is due on those dates. So these dates here on the beige and the white area, they are just there to keep you on track, to give you as a reference. These are for your personal use as a reference. The red boxes indicate the dates that are actual due dates. In other words, you must have them uploaded to your Google Drive by those dates. And they are very specific. So hopefully there's no lack of clarity on that. I've written it again here at the top, so just please read. If I can suggest anything in this class, please don't be afraid to read what I post, because I won't post stuff on my website if it's not important. Now, the course orientation is what you're watching right now, and we're now doing it via video, so it's no longer on campus. This is the way we used to do it on campus, and people didn't care for it because it's an online class. People didn't want to have to come on a specific date to campus and drive all the way there. And I understand that. So that's why we're doing it on video now, just so you know. But Module 1 is really just this orientation. It's a long process, I know, to listen to this video. So for me, this counts as a lesson. Also, I needed to give you ample time to download all of these next lessons, Module 2 through 7. These are the ones that are actually, you're going to be doing the work. And so that's why there is no Module 1 on the actual chapters or lessons, because we're using this initial period, whether it's a week or whether it's a day, depending upon the semester you're doing this, to get set up, to get oriented to the course and how it works, because this takes time. You listening to me right now takes time. It takes time to understand the website, to learn how all this works, and to download the files. That's a lot of work right there. So I count that as a full module. Next up, the Google Drive I've been referring to all this time. So this is a link that links to Google Drive. Now, if you don't have a Google account already, then you can go ahead and set one up by clicking on this link, and it will take you to Google, and it will take you to the place where you can build your own little Google Drive. Now, what is a Google Drive? Well, it's a cloud drive. That's all it is. You get a certain amount of free space that you can save data to, and it allows you to back up your work. So that way, when you're working on your laptop or your PC at home or your Mac at home, it will give you a place where you can upload those finished files so that if your computer crashes or you lose your laptop, you will still have all the work saved. And ever since we switched to this system, we've had great success. No students have ever lost their work because you have it backed up on the cloud. The cloud is perfect for this type of work. It's great because you're always going to have a backed up copy of your work as long as you're submitting to your Google Drive to save it there. If you already have a Gmail email address, then you already have Google Drive, whether you know it or not. And you can just watch this video here on how to access it and how to use it. So all the information you need about your Google Drive uploads are here. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, but this is the link that will explain to you how to utilize your Google Drive and where to sign up for it. Next up, the discussion forums. There's going to be a further, more in-depth look at discussion forums later in this video, but for now, I'll just let you know that this is stored on Canvas. Canvas is the Cerritos College system for academic courses that basically it's an online supplement to any course that you take on campus. But for online courses, it's particularly important, and we will be using Canvas in conjunction with the website that you're looking at right now. So this is why I've created a link for it right here to make it easy for you. But I've also, again, included a video here to help explain Canvas a little bit more in a little bit more detail. So let's try it. Click on Canvas. It's going to take me to the Canvas link that normally I would have to fill out my login and password information to get to this point. And that is the same login and password information that you used to access your My Cerritos account. So it's really straightforward. It's really easy. And once you've done it, you can go ahead and tell it to always stay logged in like mine. So I don't have to keep logging in all the time. It'll just always take me there. And this is what I would see. You can switch between courses by clicking on the courses link. And these will be all the courses that you're taking at Cerritos College. You just find the Photoshop one and click on it and you're off and running. And so when you do that, it will take you to the homepage on Canvas. So this, as you can see, looks very different from the main website because now we're in Canvas and these are some topics which we'll get to in just a moment. But I've kept it pretty simple so you won't see too many links. It's pretty easy to access and hopefully won't be confusing to you. So getting back to the weekly discussion forum, these are simple questions that you will be asked on a regular basis that you must answer to stay enrolled in the course. Okay, so it's really critical that you do answer these, and I will give you reminders on my weekly updates to do so. But just keep in mind that you will have to access this on a regular basis. If you're doing fall or spring semesters, that would be once a week. If you're doing summer, that would be once a day. Okay, so there'll be more details on this later in the video, but I just wanted you to be aware of what they are. Course downloads, again, I'm going to go into much greater detail later down the road on this video. So this is just a starter, but again, it's on Canvas, and again, it's right here. So instead of going to discussions for the discussion page, you just stay on home, and these are the links that you'll use to download the lessons or the modules for the course. So they can be downloaded in bulk, as in these links here, where they'll take longer to download, but you get them all as one package, or they can be downloaded individually by module, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and eventually 7. So you could do it either way. These are just duplicates. So this is the same here as you would get here. It's just that I've included them both ways. So for students who want to download the modules independently, say for example, you lost some of the files for module 3, you don't want to download the whole group, you can just come straight here. Anyway, there'll be more on this topic later. So just so you understand, this is critical because this is where we download the lessons. So after those links, you'll find the syllabus. The course syllabus, of course, has the details of the course, and what is important is that you understand the grading breakdown. The grading breakdown is fairly simple because each creative project is worth 20%. So if you add up all 3 creative projects, that's 60% of your grade. the weekly assignments altogether from the first download and the second download are both 20%. So that's almost half your grade. It's 40%. So that just lets you understand how important these creative projects are that we'll get to in a little bit. But in addition to that, you're going to find all the details of the course here in the syllabus regarding attendance and regarding the importance of your weekly discussion questions and topics like that. So I'll give you a chance to read through that, but please do so when you have a chance. All right, the software. Photoshop is obviously a critical part of the class, and you can't take the course without a copy of Photoshop it's fully functional. The types of and the versions of Photoshop that you can use are of utmost importance when it comes to taking the class. So there's two links. One is for the 7-day trial of Photoshop, but let me start with the monthly subscription plans, because whether you realize it or not, Photoshop and Adobe have switched to basically a rental type of situation where you're renting the software as opposed to owning it. In the past, up until version CS6, you would just buy the copy of Photoshop and you would own it forever. But it was a very expensive program, so what they've done is they've broken it down to monthly rentals. So basically, you can save money depending on how long you use the software for. But since you don't own it for life, it could end up costing you more than the original would have cost, but that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different discussion we could have. At any rate, this is the reality of new versions of Photoshop. It's only available from them, and you can download it from their website. You have two basic options. One is to pay through a non-committal monthly plan, meaning here, as you can see, you can get a single app like Photoshop for a monthly rate of $30 a month. So that's kind of expensive compared to their annual plans, which are only $10 a month, say, for example, with programs like Photoshop. So a $10 a month program requires you to commit for a full year, meaning you have to pay for a full year. They put you under contract, kind of like a cell phone. So at the end of the year, you're going to pay $120, and that's the minimum that you can do. With the monthly plan, you're not committed to that year. You can quit at any time, but it's a lot more expensive per month. It'll be $30 per month. And that might be a good option for summer school students, for example, who are only taking the class for 6 weeks. If you look at the numbers and you didn't want Photoshop after the class is over, you could get away with like a $60 fee as opposed to $120 for the full year. Or if you perhaps use this plus the 7-day free trial, maybe you could even do something like 5 weeks, and that could get you by, depending on how you handle the workload. So that might be an appealing option for summer school students, whereas for long-term students like fall or spring, where the semester is over 17 weeks, that might not be such a great deal. You might want to go with something like this for the full year. Or if you're taking other classes or you're interested in owning other programs or using other programs from Adobe like After Effects or InDesign or Illustrator, then you might want to look at one of the more expensive annual plans that give you access to all the software. So there's a lot of different ways you can go. I'll be happy to help you find what's right for you if you want to reach out to me via email. But yes, it can be a little bit confusing, but hopefully that explains things a little bit. And I provided links to Adobe right here, so you can click here and go and buy the software. Now, if you're not ready to buy the software yet, or you need a little time to wait for some cash to buy that, then you can go to the free 7-day trial link here. As long as you haven't enacted the 7-day trial before, it should work. You can click here and you can follow the links, download a Mac or PC version that's fully functional for 7 days. So to give you a little breathing room. So those are some of the Adobe links that you'll find here to access the software. If you have an old copy of Photoshop like CS4, CS5, CS6, feel free to use it. You do not need to have the latest version of Photoshop. So if you have an older copy on your computer or you have an old CC version, that's fine too. What you can't do is use anything along the lines of Photoshop Elements. People are confused by this, but Photoshop Elements is not a full version of Photoshop. It does not do everything we needed to do for the course. So Photoshop Elements does not work. So please don't try to use Photoshop Elements for the class. But if you have an older copy of Photoshop you're not sure about, send me an email. I'll be happy to try and figure it out for you so we can get you a fully functional copy of Photoshop to take the course on. All right, the creative projects, which we mentioned briefly earlier, are critical because they amount to 60% of your overall grade. Each one is worth 20%. Here on this link, you'll find some more information about each one. Here's the CD cover, the, go back here, the book cover redesign, and then finally the mini poster. Now, each one of these has a detailed description on how to do the project embedded in the lesson. So in other words, when you go to your assignments link, you'll see that in red, I put here the CD cover in Module 6. And so if you want to look at that earlier than Module 6, you know where it's located. And you can look at everything you need to know for the CD cover in advance. That would be turned in for the first group of modules at the midterm upload, whenever your midterm upload date is. The other two, also in red, are located in Modules 8 and Modules 11, the mini poster and the book cover, so you know exactly where to find them when you make your downloads. Now, those will be turned in during the final upload, whenever that is for you. So just so you know, look at the red, and that will help you locate all the deadlines for your creative projects. Again, if you have more questions, email me. These two links are really generalized topics, and I will let you look at those at your own leisure. But what these are doing is just trying to help you understand the difference between an online course and a regular course. So let me just kind of sum up by saying that there are a lot of great advantages for an online course. For example, a class like this one is based upon, in terms of, if you were to take this class physically, you would be committed to 6 hours per week, usually 2 days a week on campus. So the reason for that is because back in the 1950s, when the state was deciding on class lengths, they were basing it off of traditional art classes like ceramics, like drawing, like painting. These are all classes that require a lot of setup time for things like clay and for paint, and for cleaning up the brushes, say, for example, at the end of a painting class, or taking all of your canvases and storing them in your locker, on and on and on. There's a lot of physical things that take place in traditional art classes, setting up your easels, and, if you're in ceramics, then, taking your clay out and pressing it, and there's a lot of physical labor involved. So they wanted longer time periods to account for that, so that they made for 6 hours per week. Well, along come the digital classes, many years later, and here we are in the 2000s, and certainly our computers don't take an hour to start up or to clean up or anything like that, but we're still held to those archaic time frames. And so if you take this class physically, it's 6 hours, and I have to hold you there for 6 hours. And so basically you're locked into that time frame. Whereas, of course, does it take 6 hours a week to do these lessons? No, there's no way it could last 6 hours to do a normal workload in Photoshop each and every week. It's a digital tool. It doesn't take that long to turn on a computer or to shut it down. So I find one of the advantages, this class, I think, lends itself better towards an actual workflow that makes sense for students in this time, in this era. And I find it has a lot of advantages when it comes to your time and particularly not wasting it. Now, if you do need more time than average to work on lessons and to learn, if you're new to computers or what have you, I still don't think you're going to find it takes 6 hours a week, but it may. But in any case, this class allows that flexibility for each individual student, which I love. We'll talk more about the advantages of video lessons versus live lessons later, because there's a lot of advantages with that as well. But on the negative side, I will say that if you are not prepared for motivating yourself to do the work and to turn it in on time and to be regular with it, then maybe an online class is not for you. Maybe you need the discipline of being locked down to a desk for 6 hours a week. Maybe that's the only way you'll finish a course. I don't know you individually, so you have to ask yourself those questions. Now, if that's the case, you really probably should not take an online class of any kind. You should take physical classes only, or just wait till you think you're mature enough or ready for an online class. Now, those are only questions that you can ask yourself and answer for yourself. I can't help you with that. All I can do is just kind of warn you that you need to be self-motivated for an online course of any kind. You need to be able to discipline yourself enough to do the work, and so that you can meet those deadlines and that you can learn from it and ask questions as you need to. So that's all I'll say in summary over these two links here. All right, so moving on. This link is critical as well because it shows you what you should receive on your download. Like I said earlier, there's going to be an extensive lesson on downloading the modules and how they work. So I won't spend too much time here with that. I will just point out that this is where you can find the contents of those folders. Now, also important, when you're ready to submit your files, most students want a checklist. They want to know, hey, what do I have to turn in? And here I'm telling you module by module, what do you need to turn in? Here's module 2 through 7. For example, you'll notice on module 2, it says nothing. And that confuses people. Like, why do I turn in nothing for module 2? Well, because module 2 are all lessons designed to help you understand the layout of Photoshop and how it works, the mechanics of Photoshop. Whereas modules 3 through 7 are modules that get more into specifics, where you're going to have to save the file and prove that you've done it to me. Okay. So here, once again, you have the checklist for both groups of modules, modules 2 through 7, modules 8 through 14, as well as the creative projects that you'll be submitting in addition to those. So just be aware, you can find a checklist for everything right here. Download contents and checklist. Email registration we talked about earlier, and hopefully you've already filled this out. If you haven't, I don't know what more to say to you at this point. Last but not least, we have our student gallery. Our student gallery is composed of various works that have been done in the past regarding these different projects, say, for example, CD covers and book covers, as well as mini posters. So this is a great place to sort of get an understanding of what the creative projects might end up looking like and what you can do to, to prepare for those projects. So that's an overview of all the links on the Art 192 website. So now you're ready to go ahead and download the modules for the course. The modules for the course are quite simply the nuts and bolts of the class itself. These are the lessons, these are the Photoshop files, the videos, everything you need to take the class. So while the website and the Canvas site has the information and the links regarding the class, this download is what really has all of the educational material for the course. So obviously it's very important. Anyway, here's how you get there. If you're on the home page like this, you simply click on the course downloads link. From there, you're going to see a video, most likely something similar to this one, where I'm explaining how you use Canvas. The link to Canvas itself is right here. Canvas, once again, is the Cerritos College, basically the online infrastructure for your courses. So I click on that. It takes me to the Cerritos College login. This is going to be your username or student number and your password. This will be the same information you provide to get into your My Cerritos account, for example. So I click login. This will take me to the Canvas dashboard. This is the dashboard for you, and yours is going to look different than mine, obviously, but underneath the dashboard link on the left, look for courses. that will bring up a pop-up list of all of the courses you're currently enrolled in at Cerritos College. Now, you might see a lot of links. It might be very confusing and cluttered. Just look for the link that says Photoshop/digital imaging Art 192. Okay. If you see a lecture and a lab version of this, then you want to click on the lecture version of this. With lecture lab classes like art classes, you often have two links, and I know that makes it confusing, but that's just the way it is. You always want to look for the link that's for the lecture component of the class. Click on that. All right, so once you arrive to the modules or the home page, you're going to see a few different links. This first one links to a short video that talks about Canvas. Again, this video is optional. It's not something you have to watch. As long as you've seen the orientation video, you should be fine. But if you want more information, I put that there. The course website itself, if you want to access the course website from here, you can. We were just there. But if you've perhaps accessed the course through Canvas first, then this would be the link for you. Finally, you have your module links. So let's talk about this. So the first link that you're going to find, Download 1 or DVD 1 for modules 2 through 7, this link will take you to a Google Drive folder that contains all of the first 7 modules. So what does that look like? Let's click on it and find out. All right. First thing we'll do, it was going to ask you to click on another link. Just click on that. And it should take you right to my Google Drive folder. This is not your Google Drive folder, obviously. This is mine, so it's going to have my content in there. But what you should see are the following folders: modules 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this list may appear in a slightly different way, but essentially you should have 6 folders with these module numbers on them, modules 2 through module 7. Okay. So what I would recommend, if you are going to download all of these at once, which I think is a good idea, is just simply highlight them. You can just click on one and then hold down the Shift key and click on the top one to select them all. Depending on how you're looking, you can also click with your mouse and drag to grab all of them, like this. And then you right-click with your mouse and choose Download. Okay. When you do that, here you can see down here, it's preparing the download and it's zipping those files. Zipping means compressing. It's going to compress those files for your download so that it downloads more efficiently. And then you'll be able to uncompress those with some sort of uncompression software. If you're using a Macintosh, it should happen automatically. You should be able to just uncompress those by using the system. But if you're using a Windows system and you're having difficulty with the unzipping process, then look for a free download from WinZip or one of the other unzipping or StuffIt. Any sort of free expander will go ahead and work for that. If you're still having difficulty, you can email me, but it should be pretty easy to find those free software. So once this comes up, you're gonna see that little circle there in the corner. That blue line indicates how far it's gotten in the process. Essentially, it's trying to compact these. Now, this is going to take a long time, but the advantage with this method is that you can just go grab lunch or whatever, come back, and hopefully you'll have everything there for you. Whereas if you do it one by one, it's going to be a more cumbersome process, but faster. So let's take a look at both. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this because we don't have all that much time. And now if you want to just do one at a time, let's say I just wanted to grab 2 for now, well, I can do that, and I can just come over and just say, okay, I'm going to download that one. So I come over to download. Again, I'm just right-clicking, and now it's only zipping 1 file. So it should be a lot faster because there's less to zip, there's less to download. So basically, you could do this with each of these, or you could grab 2 or 3, 4 at a time. It's really up to you. However you want to work, but this gives you that flexibility to download as you please. So it really kind of comes down to that. I've also put some other links on there. Let me just cancel this as well because we just don't have time. All right. I've also put some other links. Let's take a look. So if we come over here to the first area, let me just back up here. It's easier. All right, so here I am back at the Canvas home page, right? So this was the link we followed. Now I've also put links directly that go directly to the individual modules. These are just duplicates of what's here. It's the same, in fact, it's the same location actually. But when I click on this, you can see I can click on a different link and it takes me directly to the contents of module 2, for example. So this is everything from module 2. So I won't recommend that you download it, one at a time in terms of the files. What I would suggest is you just grab the entire folder. Once again, you can right click it and choose download for that folder. Okay, so you can just download it all at once. But let's say, for example, one of your files got corrupted or you accidentally threw it away or whatever. You can always just come here and just download individual files as well. Just click on it and choose download. So it'll just download that one simple Photoshop file, whatever it is you need. And it may ask you something like this. Because it's small, it doesn't need to zip it because it's one individual file. I can just say save file, or I can choose open. And with that, I can choose a specific software to open it with that I might have on my system. So again, if you have like WinZip or Stuff at Expander, you could choose one of those for it, or you could just hit save file and then expand it later. If you have a Mac, you should just be able to double click it. Once you've downloaded it, it should expand automatically. And I believe some Windows systems can do that as well, but I've come across some people that had issues with their systems. So anyway, that's essentially the process. Let me just point out one additional thing back here. So these are the links to the individual downloads from each folder, but download 2, that will only be available to you later in the course. So if you're taking this course in fall or spring, then that link is going to appear sometime around week 6. If you're taking this class in the summer, then it's going to appear much quicker, probably at the end of week 2. So when these links become available, it's the same exact thing. You click here and it's going to take you to the download area for those next groups of folders. So you have modules 8 through 14. You can do it the same way, or you can do it one at a time. Again, it's all the same. So that's essentially the download process for modules. So hopefully it runs smoothly for you. And if you have any doubts or questions, feel free to email me. So at this point, we've waited for the download to complete. And I'm just using Firefox as a browser, but whatever browser you're using will have a downloads folder somewhere, or it will ask you where you want to save your download. So hopefully you know where that is. So I have now opened up my downloads folder where this download was stored, and it looks like this. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Art192 DVD1 folder. Okay, now this date may change in the future. This gets updated periodically when I need to make updates to the lessons, and so you may be using this exact date, or it may be a future date. It may vary, but you should be looking for DVD1CC. That's what we're looking for. This is the first group of modules from modules 2 through 7 and their titles. So what you'll do is just double click on that folder, and here you will see your modules. So as you go through these, this is what they look like. And I can cross-reference this with my Art192 website on the link that I showed you, where you can go ahead and just double check to make sure that you have received everything that the download is supposed to contain. All of the Photoshop files, the PSD files are here. All of the movie files, the .mov files, are on top. And you notice that when I open it up in list view like this, whether it's a Mac or a PC, you should see things numerically. In other words, it says number 1, number 2, number 3. In case of module 2, there's 5 lessons. In case of module 3, there's 6 lessons. These are all movie files. These are the lessons that you'll watch. The PSD files that take place after that, these are the files that you'll be using to complete those lessons, to open those up. So for example, if we go ahead and open up, let's say number 2, I'm going to get this movie file and I will start to watch it. All right, I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about navigation. Okay, so you can hear my voice, and what you're going to see as I go through the lesson, I'll just mute this, you'll see in real time as I'm talking to you, just like with this lesson, you'll see the mouse, you'll see the clicks, you'll see the menus, you'll see everything that I do in real time so you can follow along with exactly what I'm doing inside of Photoshop. So you can see here's an older version of Photoshop that I'm using. CS6 for this particular lesson works perfectly fine, as I was mentioning earlier with the older versions of Photoshop. But old or new, regardless of what version you're using, you're going to have these menus, you're going to have these tools, and I will walk you through the lessons on each incremental subject, starting with the basics like this on just where things are located and how to find things, all the way up through more advanced lessons as we go through the semester. So it's a really easy process to follow, and the subtitles are also available if you would like. You can access those just by clicking on this button here for any of the movies. If they just get in the way, which they do, and from time to time, I would just turn those off unless you need them. Now, the beauty with watching tutorials in this manner is that they are pausable and rewindable. So I can rewind and watch something again. If I didn't quite understand it the first time, I can watch it again and again and again. So this is really great for people who have issues with learning, and people who just need more time, people who are new to the software that want to watch it multiple times, or maybe you forget something, you want to go back and revisit this. This is great because obviously there are many situations where you'll forget how to do something, or you'll just, you want to go back and revisit a topic. And with obviously a live class, those issues can't be resolved. You don't have that option. All you can do is look at your notes and hope that that works. Now, of course, you can always ask me questions, but everything you need to complete the lessons are right here. And you can see as I speed through this, you can see that there's a lot going on in each lesson. There's a lot of things to learn and to watch. And as you go through this, you'll get more and more comfortable with Photoshop. But let me just point out that this is just the movie. You'll also want the file. Say, for example, in this particular movie, I'm using this Bali Pot file to do various things in Photoshop to learn from. So we want that same file to open, and there it is, Photoshop Bali Pot. Okay, so we would simply open this up with Photoshop. Now, again, this will be based upon which version you have of Photoshop installed. Here I'm using an older machine, and so I don't have the latest version of Photoshop installed, but it's certainly good enough to work. And like I said, you could pretty much use any version of Photoshop from CS4 onward, which incorporates, I think, most any version that people would have out there. And whoops, in this case, it's an older machine. It doesn't have the registration, but anyway, you get the idea. So you open this up, and Photoshop would then launch, and then you're good to go. So let me just quit that. Looks like it's going to try and open after all. Maybe it's just a bit slow. Anyway, so these Photoshop files will contain everything you need to complete the lessons. They are the lessons that walk you through the building blocks of Photoshop so that you understand how to use the tools, how to use the menus, how to get various things accomplished. Don't want to see that. There we go. So in this case, here's my Bali Pot file, and I would be going ahead and just following the lessons alongside of my Photoshop. So for example, let me just bring back the movie that I had open a moment ago. Here's my movie, and here's my copy of Photoshop. Now, as I record this, I'm using a 1920 by 1080 resolution screen. That's very low. It's very doubtful that you have a screen that old. Chances are your screen is much better than mine and has a higher resolution, so it won't be so difficult to fit these on the screen at the same time. But you can see, even with a low resolution screen like mine, it's still very much possible to navigate and to follow along with the movie without much problems. I can zoom in, I can do all the things I need to do to follow the lessons, while at the same time watching the video on the side here. So I'm just using my QuickTime movie player to go ahead and watch this and scroll through the lessons and follow along with the actual copy of Photoshop to the side here. So it's an easy process to follow, and like I said, it's great because you have total control over the lesson as it goes, and you can rewind it as you need or as you see fit with the lessons. So if you don't have QuickTime Movie Player installed on your system, it's an easy find on the Apple website, and every computer should have it. But if yours doesn't for some reason, you can go ahead and just download your copy of QuickTime from the Apple website for free, whether you have a Linux or Windows, or if of course you have a Mac, it'll be built into that, so it's not an issue. Anyway, that is the process. And so just once again, let me put this aside here. This is my initial download. This has modules 2, modules 3, all the way through module 7. And so I would just go through ease sequentially, and all the files that you need are located there. The critical creative exercise, the first one, the CD project, is located in module 6. And you'll find the template you need there. Make sure you use that CD template. Do not try and go around it. And of course, everything you need to understand that project is located here on the lesson for the CD cover project with the template. All right, so that will conclude this look at the module downloads and how to use modules. Hopefully you understand what these lessons are and how they work. Again, it's just like chapters in a book. You're just going to go through them sequentially and follow along. But you're not going to submit your finished products until you reach the deadline listed on the website. So for the midterm deadline, that will occur somewhere around the middle of the semester, and then the final deadline towards the end. But the dates are located on your assignments link on the Art192 website. And another question I get a lot is just regarding Module 2. Module 2, people are often confused because in this particular set of modules, I'm not asking you to submit anything at all. And people are often confused by that, like, why am I not doing anything? Because these are all designed to show you the basics of how Photoshop mechanics work. And so there's really nothing to submit that would show me that. You just have to do it on your own and learn. But beginning with Module 3 through Module 7, you will be submitting your finalized work through each of these lessons. And again, the checklist for that is located on the website on art192.com under the download checklist. So I'll wrap this up here, and we'll just assume that you're now comfortable with modules and the downloading process of modules. If you're not, please email me. You can find my email on the website. So here we are at the Art192 website, and we're looking at the weekly discussion forum link. So we click here, take us to this link. As I mentioned earlier, this is located on Canvas. So when you click on Canvas, it's going to take you to the Canvas homepage that we discussed earlier. Most likely you'll start at your dashboard, then you'll go to courses, and then you'll select the course that you want to look at. So in this case, Art192. This number after Art192 will change based upon what semester it is. So we've looked at this area before when we talked about downloads, and this is the main home page. But you'll notice there's other links here on the left. There's discussions, syllabus, and Google Drive. So let's go to discussions. The discussions forum is located here, and you're going to basically just see a bunch of numbered discussion topics for each particular date. Now, if you're taking this class in the spring or in the fall, these will be at the rate of one discussion topic per week. So in other words, you'll see these links once every week. Now, for the people taking this in the summer, these are going to pop up every day. So it won't be on weekends, and it won't be every single day of the semester, but it'll be pretty rapid fire. In other words, there'll be daily posts for the most part. So just keep in mind that you'll probably have 4 or 5 of these per week. Just depends on the summer session, but just check for these and get in the habit of looking for them daily. But I will also provide links to these regardless of the semester on the updates that I send out via email. So again, for summer people, that's going to be more of a daily affair. For spring and for fall, that's going to be more of a weekly affair. At any rate, let's see what this is all about. So it's a very simple process. Let's just try one and click on discussion topic. Once you do that, you're going to see a discussion question. This particular topic says, after completing this course, what is your favorite Photoshop technique, either new or old? After that, you read the question, you reply to it. It's really that simple. You can see students have replied and they've answered the question. And that's basically all there is to this. And so every week or every day, depending on your semester, you will have one of these to answer. Okay. Now, these are not part of your overall grade. They're more just to make sure that you are maintaining interest in the course. And for online classes, this is necessary. Because you're not physically attending, we need to make sure that you are regularly participating in the course. And so you will be dropped if you do not take this seriously and if you do not answer these questions. So even though it's not something that issues a letter grade, it is something that could get you dropped from the course. So it's incredibly important that you answer these to each and every one. And that's it. It's that simple. That's the end of this lesson. If you have any questions, as always, email me. So congratulations, you have now completed the online orientation video. Please go ahead and visit the homepage at this point and look for the link down here right underneath the video that refers to the quiz based upon this orientation video you just watched. So as soon as you're done watching this, go ahead and go here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it to show you what's going to happen. So you will be prompted, because it's going into Canvas, you will be prompted once again to enter your login and your password information. But once you've done that, you're going to simply go to courses, find the course. Hopefully you can find that easily enough. And you're going to see on the home page, there's several links on the left. And this is a good way to sort of start with Canvas and get acquainted with Canvas. And we're going to be looking for the quiz link. Okay. So under quizzes, there's only one quiz for the course. That's the orientation quiz. Now, a few things about the quiz. First of all, you cannot take the quiz until the very first day of classes. It's just how Canvas works. Because Canvas only becomes accessible to you on the first day of classes and not before, then you will have to wait, even if you're watching this video long before the class begins. So you have a window between the first day of class and Friday of the first week. So you have the full 5 days in which to take this simple quiz. Now, the quiz itself simply needs to be completed successfully. All right. It's just to prove that you watched the video to me so that we're on the same page and that you're not, wondering about all the basic information of the course because you haven't watched the video. And you'd be surprised how often this happens. So it should be really simple if you did watch the video. And even if you did and you missed a few things, this is a good way for you to solidify the main points of the course that you may have missed. It's a long video. It's an hour long. So I do want to make sure that you got certain points in the video before we continue and begin the class. And so this is what the quiz is all about. So it's a little different than your standard quiz because I'm not grading you on it, yet you have to complete it and get 100%. So The strange thing is you can take this as many times as you need to. It'll simply repeat itself until you finish, with a perfect score. So if you need to take it 3 or 4 times, fine. But it's going to tell you the correct answer if you miss one, so it should be pretty simple the second time around. There's only 15 questions, but all the points on this quiz are important for the success in the class. So just make sure, of course, you've watched the video and read the website and the syllabus, and then you're ready for the quiz. And like I said, you can take it as many times as you need to. So go ahead and take care of that after you watch this. And also do not forget to register your email address. That is the most important thing for the week. This is the second most important thing of the week is the quiz. So please take care of those 2 things.